sleep on their pillows to get up and fulfill the prescribed prayer. May Allah act truly upon the faith of this commandment and to perform the salah with full attention. And then he was showing people who wore loincloths on the front and the back. They were roaming around aimlessly. They were eating the thorns and the zakum, the fruit from hell, resembling the heads of devils, we are told, and then the white hot coals and the stones of Jahannam. And he was told, these are the ones who did not meet the obligation of paying sadaqah from what they possessed, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never kept them wanting for anything. May Allah help us accept this important belief and act upon it by giving from what is due of the sadaqah. And then he was shown people with food and meat in front. They would not eat that. Instead, they were eating the foul, rotting meat around. And he was told, these are men and women from your community with good, lawful wives and husbands at home, and who spend nights away with foul women and men. And it's good for us to keep in mind the distraction, the evil of adultery, and what leads to it in terms of the distractions on the internet and porn that becomes available. May Allah keep us all guided and protected, us, our children. And then he was shown a man who gathered a stack of wood which he was unable to lift. And yet he kept adding more and more wood to it. And then Jibreel alayhi salam said, this is a man from your community who got the trust and the amana of people, and he's unable to fulfill them. And yet he insists on carrying these trust. So amana, the positions of responsibility within our families, within our businesses, within our practices, these are important obligations. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us accept the faith of the significance associated with them and to discharge the amana properly. There's so many of these, but I'll end with one more reminder in that regard. He was shown people whose tongues and lips were being sliced with knives, and each time they would return to the original state and then be sliced again. And he was informed by Jibreel alayhi salam, these are the speakers in your community. These are the speakers in your community who bring about divisions within the community. And they say not what they say, what they do not do. So the concept of truthfulness and using that to bring the community together as opposed to being divisive. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us appreciate the faith that is needed to understand the significance and to discharge that responsibility properly, because all of us, to one degree or another, have this responsibility of speaking on behalf of the community, with the community. May we do so with the wisdom of not separating and dividing people, but pulling them together. And lastly, brothers and sisters, the significance of sadaqah, of zakat in these days. On the Mi'raj, we know this, but let's be reminded. The Prophet ﷺ was taken to the Kawthar, the fountain of abundance, and at the entrance of paradise he was shown what was written there. As-sadaqatu bi-ashri amthaliha. Charity is repaid tenfold. وَالْقَرْضُ بِثَمَانِيَةِ عَشَرَةٍ, and loans repaid 18-fold. And the Prophet ﷺ turned to Jibreel alayhi salam and said, how is the loan more meritorious than charity? And the answer given was, because one asking for charity may still have some need left, but the borrower does not borrow except his need is fulfilled right there. The importance here is the shift is from us as the givers trying to focus too much on myself and saying, I'm doing a big job are giving, helping people. I'm told, worry about who is getting it. What are their needs? Are they fulfilled by charity enough? Are they fulfilled by loans? So we have to keep being concerned about those who have difficulty. Understand and try to complete those responsibilities. So especially in these blessed days and nights of Shaban, we must work to help each other, remind each other of our Islamic responsibilities as we prepare for the month of Ramadan. I must treat the difficulties and problems of others as my own. And a wonderful example again was set by the pious Sahaba. Anas radiallahu anhu relates that in Shaban, the Sahaba would set aside their wealth and their zakat, the sadaqah and the zakat, for the help of the needy. They do so in Shaban. So the recipients could perform the fasting and the ibadah of Ramadan with contentment. So let me be reminded, yes, there is immense reward in the month of Ramadan, which Allah will open up His bounteous treasures, unbounded treasures. But if my focus is on truly helping those in need, look at the difficulties of all the people who are being oppressed, India being thrown out, once again, the recent fire across one of their biggest communities, what is happening with the earthquakes in Syria and Turkey. And if I just focus on myself and wait for the month of Ramadan, imagine the difficulties they have to go through as they enter Ramadan. So I need to be thinking constantly that is my faith, that is my action, to understand what are the needs of my fellow beings, the creation of Allah, and the focus on serving the creation as one avenue, important avenue of serving in the path of my Lord. So the zakat is very important, and inshallah we will all keep in mind that it is an act of purification of one's belongings, one's heart and soul, from the worldly greed and the material love that I tend to fall into. And all the distractions that keep us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are kept away by discharging this important obligation. And literally zakat means for us, we have to keep in mind, purification, improving, flourishing, sweetening, growing of what blessings are given to us. And it is equated constantly, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَعْتَوُا الزَّكَاةَ. Establish the salah and then give the zakat. So, zakat is significant as a structured Islamic institution with a religiously defined socio-economic purpose. And the welfare and upliftment of the ummah happens in a consistent manner by doing that. So brothers and sisters, inshallah, we will focus in these days in planning ahead for our giving, so that much of that is planned out, implemented ahead of Ramadan, inshallah, so that we can focus on the responsibilities that we have as the ones who are giving, to seek out deserving recipients, to seek out recognized institutions, and focusing on the needs of those who are facing difficulties. So as I end, let us focus once again on the glorious visitor to come, the one for which we've been praying for the last 2 months to be introduced to. Let us focus on making ourselves worthy of this visitor of Ramadan, to prepare and purify myself, and importantly, to define my harvest. What is it that I truly seek? As I look at the cultivation of Rajab, the irrigation of Shaban, and the harvesting of Ramadan. What is it truly that I seek to harvest? The spiritual elevation, perhaps, I want to focus. The freedom from particular vices or distractions, which all of us, to one degree or another, and I point the finger at myself, that I know I have this weakness. Whether it is anger, whether it is envy, jealousy, lust, whatever it may be. And then possibly the closer connection to the Quran, the message of Allah, and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and most importantly, becoming drafted into service to creation by way of sadaqah and zakat And remembering, brothers and sisters, especially in difficult times, we need to be open to giving. And today, I come from that world of businesses. I was in Silicon Valley, and one of the biggest banks there, Silicon Valley Bank there, which serves all of these startups, $250 billion in assets, shut down today. There will be job losses. There will be assets lost. And in these difficult times, we need to turn to Allah and open up, counterintuitively perhaps, giving when we face difficulty, because that opens up the bounteous treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us truly appreciate the glory of the incredible visitor of Ramadan that is upon us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us truly purify ourselves, prepare ourselves for this month of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us define the harvest that we expect to reap, and then may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us become introduced to this visitor and then become worthy of all the blessings that we will be able to harvest, inshallah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen wa ahmad da'wana and alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. أما بعد فيا معشر المسلمين، قال الله سبحانه وتعالى: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من صلى اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من قال وقام. اللهم صل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى سائر الصحابة وخلفاء الراشدين والتابعين وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. اللهم أيد الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم قوي إيمان إخواننا وأخواتنا في كل مكان، خصوصا في تركيا وسوريا وفلسطين واليمن وكل الجزائر وكل أفريقيا وكل أمريكا وكل إيشيا، خصوصا إيران وعراق، إندونيسيا وماليزيا وأفغانستان وهند وباكستان وبنغلاديش وكشمير وميانمار والصين والروس وفي كل مكان. اللهم قوي إيمانهم وثبت أقدامهم وانصرهم على عدوهم. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين. اللهم ارحم والدينا ووالد والدينا ومن له فضل علينا في الدنيا والآخرة. ربنا هب لنا من ازواجنا وذرياتنا قرة اعين واجعلنا للمتقين اماما. اللهم فرج كروب المسلمين وعامل كروات المسلمين واستر عورات المسلمين. اللهم انا نعوذ بك من كل سيء حرام. امين يا رب العالمين. عباد الله رحمكم الله، ان الله يامر بالعدل والاحسان وايتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر. أقيموا الصلاة. As you come up and form the line, brothers and sisters, I'm asking to remind everybody that we